So there's two ways to look at it. Hey, you get sick. How do we have a stronger immune response? But number two is, how do we just prevent that invader from even opening the cell door to begin with? And so we kind of want to look at it from two sides of the coin if we can.
Yeah, and of course you can't sign in blood and say, "Hey, look, if you do all the right things, you're going to have guaranteed protection." But to me, it makes sense that you could reduce risk. I mean, if we look at just try to comparatively look at the vitamin D levels in the flu, we know just by looking at the data, you can see in general, lower vitamin D equals increased risk. So the data is there on this. This is not stuff we're just making up on the fly to sell some vitamin D. No, it's there.
Yep, 100%. And also, some patients kind of wrote in here, well, what does fasting help? Well, it depends. If you're sick, fasting can definitely help, but we still want nutrition to come in. I would just lean in maybe on some collagen amino acid smoothie, or maybe even just some bone broth or some gentle soup, because when you are sick, your immune system just kind of doesn't want to work as well because it's mobilizing that energy, right? When you eat food, half of the energy that you take in goes to the digestion process. It's kind of expensive. I use the analogy of using your credit card and having a 50% transaction fee on it. Hey, you buy $100 pair of shoes, well, you get a bill of $50 after the fact, right? Well, that's expensive. So if we can break everything down and make it easier on the tummy, or even go a little bit lower calorie for a day or two, but do it in response to your appetite dropping and nausea occurring. If you're not having a whole bunch of nausea or appetite drop, listen to your body, but you can always do a little bit of fasting, but try to make sure if you're not nauseous to get enough nutrition, right? Extra nutrients, potassium, vitamin C, proteins, fats, all that's going to be great. And if you start to feel your appetite going down, you can lean into a little bit more of a fast, but still rely on easy to access nutrition from bone broth or collagen amino acids or some simple smoothies.
Yep, you said it best once on a call, which was that if you said there's no nutrition in starving. So you kind of have to weigh that balance of potential
Mm-hmm.
benefits and things getting upregulated, maybe more ketone production versus, hey, I'm just not having the blueberries and all the nutrition. To me, I would still say go 3 meals a day. Maybe you eat dinner at 6 and you don't eat breakfast till 8. That's a 14-hour fast. To me, that's plenty long enough at this point.
Exactly. A lot. Now, again, the less sugar and carbohydrate you actually need less B vitamins and less antioxidants, because the more glucose and glycolysis that your body has to run, it actually requires more vitamins and more magnesium. So your nutritional needs will drop, but if you ain't really getting enough of those nutrients in, you're still going to need some of them. Okay.
Yeah.
So getting them in there is important. A lot of the carnivore crew, they don't get a lot of those nutrients, but if you're carnivore, you're also going to be leaning on lots of grass-fed nutrients. And if you're eating healthy quality steaks, there's a lot of bioaccumulated nutrition those animals are going to get from those plants. So it's totally different if you're eating animals that are all grain-based versus ones that are more grass-fed. So if you're going to be leaning more on the keto or even carnivore side, just make sure the animal products are high quality.
Yeah, one thing that some clients have said to me is that they, of course, they're not glad that stuff is shut down in the city, but I have had some people tell me, hey, now that I'm forced to cook meals at home, it's actually allowing me to get into new paleo cookbooks that I've had sitting on the counter, or try these new recipes for this grass-fed steak, or try, cooking some Brussels sprouts
Yep.
for the first time. So I want to try to, put some positive light into this, that people are with their families, hopefully at home, they're eating more good quality food. When everything
Correct.
is running normally, people are running out and they just don't think about it. I mean, even when I talk with William Shaw, the head of Great Plains Lab, here he is running a laboratory doing advanced testing, and I get him on the podcast and I'm like, yeah, take us through your diet. And he's like, oh, I eat out for lunch every day. It's like, no, Bill, don't eat out for lunch every day. So I guess you could do Chipotle and other higher quality things, but in
Yeah.
general, now people are cooking at home more. So I'm hoping this is really encouraging people to focus on nutrition more. And I think it's been a real big wake up call for the general population that, hey, our health does matter. And we kind of waited for a crisis to focus on building ourselves up. But obviously this is not the way I would want it to turn out. But it's interesting now that people are wanting to wake up and think more about the choices they're making on a daily basis. Like, oh, maybe I don't want that alcohol because I know that alcohol is not good for my immune system. People are just starting to care more, which there's got to be some good out of that.
Exactly. And